Hey everybody, so you want to go backpacking, but you're a little scared of doing it by yourself, and you've heard some stories that have got you scared, or you're worried about that whole hitchhiking thing while you're hiking, especially on those long distance hikes. Well, let's talk a little bit about personal security and hitchhiking safety. In all seriousness, I hope that scared you a little bit, because that's exactly what's going to happen to other people if you're walking around backpacking and you're carrying, a great big honking knife. And I've seen them, okay? I've seen knives like this hanging off of packs, and it makes you real worried. I've heard of guys carrying broadswords, chainmail, saw a guy carrying a .22 rifle. You see all sorts of weird stuff. And if you do that, guess what's going to happen? You're going to become the pariah. You're the one that everybody's going to worry about. And you put your own personal safety at risk, because now they are not going to be watching out for you. They're going to be watching you. Okay? So let's talk a little bit about some of the basics of personal safety. Okay, and we'll kind of go through some items here. First of all, the best tool you can have to exercise personal safety is your brain. Okay, your brain is your best tool. You need to stay situationally aware of what's going on around you, all right? You don't want to be so caught up in everything that you lose track of your surroundings and what's going on around you, all right? 2, you keep your head on a swivel, all right? Pay attention to what's going around you. Pay attention to other people. All right? 3rd, listen to that little still small voice, that thing in the back of your head that makes the hair stand up on your neck, that tells you something's not right. Pay attention to that. Listen to that. I like to tell stories. I've got a quick story to tell you. 2016 on the Appalachian Trail. Let's see, just past Laurel Falls. So I was coming up on Hampton, Tennessee. I stopped for lunch. It had been kind of rainy a little bit, kind of that misty, and I sit down on a log in a kind of it was probably a group campsite along a river, and I sat down, opened my backpack, started taking out my tuna fish to open it up and eat it, and you know what? That little voice said, "Get up and leave." I have no idea. Nobody was around. It got my attention to the point where I packed everything up and I left. I don't know why. Maybe a big tree limb was going to fall on me. Maybe a tree was going to fall on me. Maybe there was a copperhead that was sneaking around there, was going to get me. I don't know, but I listened to it and I left. Probably not more than 2 weeks later, actually maybe only about 7 days later, coming out of Damascus. The first night out, I was short on water. Finally found a water source. Was trying to get to this one campsite that was on the AWOL guide, and all of a sudden, right in the middle of the trail, that little voice said, "Stop, camp here." I'm thinking, yeah, but I still wanted to go further. No, camp here. I looked to the left, didn't see anything. Looked to the right, saw a little knoll. Walked over there. Great little stealth campsite just happened to be on the other side. A little fire ring. Stayed the night there. Don't know why. Okay, but you listen to those things. So the 3rd thing is listen to that. Listen to that voice. 4th, listen to the creep alarm. Girls, you've got a great creep alarm built in. Okay, and you can sense when something's not quite right with a guy. Okay, and you need to listen to that, and you need to heed that creep alarm. I remember this was also in 2016, just prior to the Punch Bowl in Virginia. A gal came running by me down the trail in just panicked look on her face. And I tried to engage with her, say, "Hey, are you okay?" But she looked at me with fear and just kept going. A couple of days later, I was at the Punch Bowl and I related this story, and one of the girls said, "Oh yeah, there's this guy on this trail. He's an older guy. He's married. He buys really expensive gifts for the young ladies, like $300 down sleeping bags, and then he expects sexual favors." And she was probably one of his victims. Okay, so you have to be cognizant of the creeps that are out there, and some people that will try and take advantage of you. Okay, so listen to your creep alarm. Number 5, this is for everybody. Never tell anybody that you're walking solo. Okay, now there's times when it's okay. You'll know if you're walking down the trail and 2 guys come out and they've got rifles because they're hunting and it's kind of not hunting season, and they say, "Hey, are you out here hiking by yourself?" The answer is always like, "No, I've got somebody with me." Have a trail name in mind, not Tinkerbell's, maybe Sluggo. Okay, now my buddy Sluggo is right behind me about 5 minutes. And they're always behind you because they may have been stalking the trail. They know who's coming ahead of you, so they'll know you're lying. So, and even though people are walking together, a lot of times you do kind of spread out because people have different paces. Even people that are married sometimes will spread out during the day and they'll have rendezvous points. So if you are, if that, once again, that little voice just goes, I'm not sure about this guy. No, I'm not alone. I've got my buddy behind me, and he's only about 5 minutes back. Okay, so never tell people you're solo, especially you don't know and you just met, and that's the first thing they ask. Okay, you got to kind of check it out first. Okay, number 6, never be obvious with your self-defense gear. Okay, now I get a lot of questions. Hey, Big Bird, do you carry a weapon? Do you carry a gun? Okay, I have a concealed carry permit. Now this is where I've got to put the little legal caveat in here. Anything I say now is my own personal opinion, and you have to get legal advice for whatever you decide to do. All right, I have carried on short backpacking trips that are, 2 nights, 3 days, area that I'm not quite sure of. But there's like along the long distance trails, especially like the beginning of the PCT and the AT where there's a lot of people, I don't think you need to worry about carrying. CDT, you're down there by that border and you're really out in the middle of nowhere, maybe. But there's like 33 states that have reciprocal agreements, okay? So like if you had a concealed carry permit from one of those states, you could probably carry on the AT all the way up to Maryland. But then after that, none of those states cooperate until you get to Vermont, and Vermont has no laws against it, so you can do anything you want to up there. The Continental Divide Trail, I think all those states, say Arizona, Colorado, Wyoming, Montana, Idaho, they're all part of those 33 states, so you could probably carry the whole way on the CDT. On the PCT, none of those states have those reciprocal agreements. You'd have to have a concealed carry permit in each of those states. Now, most people don't carry on long distance hikes because the weight of a weapon is too much. If you were to carry a gun, I would say you need to carry one that's like a smaller, like a little Ruger LCP that's like a 380 auto. Now, in the comments, people are going to say that has no stopping power. That's not going to stop a barrel. First of all, you're not going to use. You have to carry a big cannon almost, okay, over a bear, and most of them are going to avoid you anyway, okay. But if you carry some self-defense ammo, something Hornady that will mushroom. It's got a little bit of stopping power. That would probably work, and you can maybe keep it under a pound, and you might even be able to keep it in a hip belt pocket if it's not like my Osprey 65 AG that has no room in the pockets. But if you have a good hip belt pocket, you could probably carry it. Now, back to point number 6 is you never are obvious with it. You put that in there, you leave it in there. You don't take it out and look at it. You don't take it out and play with it at the shelters. Okay, nobody should know you have it. Nobody should ever know that you're carrying. Okay, that provides more protection for you because if I'm the bad guy and I know that you're carrying, you're my first target. Okay, or I can steal it from you and then use it against somebody else. So never ever reveal that you are carrying a concealed weapon. I have known some retired police officers who have almost need to carry concealed while they do these hikes because they have people out, especially they're vlogging, because they have people out there that have vendettas against them. And if they know they're out in the woods, they might lay in wait for them, okay? So then it makes it's a little bit different in that particular case. So never display it. Now, you will see a lot of those, I call them weekend warriors out backpacking, and they'll have the big, the big knife, strapped to their pack, or they'll put it inverted, so it'd be some some bad dude military guy carrying a big dagger on his shoulder strap. But don't do that. It just, what it'll do is it scares everybody. People will stay away from you. Now, you might want that, okay, but in self-protection, you have safety in groups and safety in numbers. You want to be blended into that hiking community. You don't want to be the pariah outcast. Okay. So what can you do? Let me go over some items and some confession here. Okay. If you look at my gear list, you'll never see these on my gear list because you never talk about things that you carry when it comes to self-defense. So in 2016 on the 18, now not this particular knife, but this is a Mora. Okay, I had a Mora Black, and it's just a bushcrafting knife. It's actually very lightweight. This is probably not more than about 4 ounces. Okay, it's carbon steel so that it does rust. But you could cut cheese with this. You could open packages with this, which is 99% of what you're going to do. I use mine twice. Once to cut some marshmallow roasting sticks at Uncle Johnny's for a fire we had, and then after Damascus, that area that I said that little small voice said stop here, I built a fire that night. A couple of times when I was doing some stealth stuff, I felt a little uncomfortable. Something's telling me I just felt uneasy. I had this thing sitting next to my sleeping bag, but most of the time it stayed in the pack. And by Petersburg, I felt comfortable enough. I didn't need this to build fires. I didn't need this for self-protection. I put it in a package and I sent it home at Petersburg. Okay, then you know that I ended up getting off for medical reasons in upstate Virginia there. And when I went back the next year in 2017, I got myself, it's called a Baca. The company is Columbia River Knife and Tools, so CRKT, and it's just a little knife. This thing is probably weighs about as much as a Mora, and this I actually took with me for self-protection, and it set in the outer mesh of my ULA Catalyst backpack, and it just pretty much stayed there. Sometimes when I did my pack explosion, it came out, went into my tent, back into my sleeping bag, and that's all. It was just there for, just in case, just to feel good. Once again, not going to show up on my gear list because you don't want to talk about the things that you might have self-protection wise. What I see a lot of people starting to do, especially you females, is wearing neck knives. And there's all sorts of neck knives that you can do. I happen to have a neck knife here that I bought. This is a Tops one. It's a little more bushcrafty. It's got a bit thicker spine so that you can actually, use it for a little bit of bushcrafting. I never didn't take this one with me, and it comes with this little whistle. But I don't like this chain. If I were to hike with it, I'd replace this chain with a piece of paracord. What I see a lot of people choosing to use, once again, Columbia River Knife and Tool. This is a little neck knife. It's a little minimalist. Okay. Dixie now with Homemade Wanderlust. She has, I think, a little Gerber kind of version of the neck knife that she's actually has her own logo put on it now, and you can actually buy it from her. But she uses a neck knife. The beauty of the neck knife is that you've got it with you all the time, and that'll come into play when you begin to hitchhike. But it's something that's just always there. It's around your neck. If you put your pack down, you've gone to the bathroom, you're away from your pack. At least you have it on you. Okay. Now some people like pocket knives. Here's a Spyderco that's this is a $110 knife. I wouldn't take it because if you lose it, that's money. I mean, this Mora, this is a $13 knife. Okay, this Baca was about a $30 knife. All right, that Tops knife was a little bit more. The CRTK here, I think it's about a $35 knife. Okay, they have those. This sheath on here is called Kydex, and if you go onto the website Blade HQ, you can buy Kydex sheaths for neck knives for some of the popular pocket knives, for Victorinox, you know, the Swiss Army knives, some of the Spyderco, some of the Benchmade knives. Actually, they have the Kydex sheath, so you can actually have your pocket knife up here instead of down where it's going to get caught on a branch and it's going to eject out of your pocket and you're going to lose it. You're not even going to know where it's at. All right. What are some of the other things that that you can do for self-protection? I think a real popular one is some pepper spray. Beauty of this can go in your pocket of your pack without any problem. If now you're starting to hitchhike, and this will come up in some little hitchhike safety we're going to talk about here in a second, but you'll take this out of your pack, you put it in your pocket, you put it in your coat, your rain jacket, you jump in the car. If anything happens, boom, you've got it there with you. You're not going to get in trouble for using this against a person. Okay, some pepper spray. All right. The other thing, and I don't have an example of it right now, but I will put it up. Let's see, let's put it up here. A picture of some bear spray. Now, I've been going back and forth on bear spray for a personal protection type situation, but recently I was watching one of Shug's videos, Shug Emery, if you don't know who he is. He's a big hammocker, and he was talking about what do you do if you're scared when you're trying to do some solo camping. And one of the suggestions he had was have some bear spray with you. You can use that against bears, and you can use that against humans. Okay, and now granted, that's going to be one of those items that's going to be on the outside of the pack. That one's going to be a little bit harder if you go to hitchhike and you throw your pack in the trunk, but you take the bear spray with you. That might be a little awkward. Okay. All right. So those are some of the things that you can do to protect yourself. Now, let's transition a little bit here to hitchhiking. I was really worried about hitchhiking. I had made myself this little sign that said hiker to trail, hiker to town, and honestly, that didn't work. What surprised me was the amount of hitchhiking I didn't have to do. Most of the hostels will come pick you up at the trail if you have a reservation with them, if you call them. A lot of the hotels that are hiker friendly will also come out. They'll send somebody out to pick you up and bring you back to the hotel if you're going to stay with them. Some of the larger cities like Franklin and Waynesboro, they actually have lists of trail angels that you can call to come out. They'll come out and pick you up. And give them some. Some will ask for some money. Some will do it for free. Almost always, you at least give them some gas money and an appreciation. So the first time I ever had the hitchhike was trying to get back down to Gatlinburg from Newfound Gap. And in the end, who picked me up was a guy that I had struck up a conversation with for about a half an hour, 2 hours earlier up at the Klingman's Dome. And then I'd worked my way down to Newfound Gap, and he got off work and he saw me, and because we struck up a conversation, he felt comfortable to pick me up and take me down. Let's see, a couple of times, I think twice I got picked up because I was hiking to a place where I could hitchhike from. And as I was just walking with my pack, somebody that obviously they know that people are going down that road to hitchhike, and this lady stopped and said, "Hey, you need a ride?" All right. Another time I think only twice did I actually stand somewhere and put my thumb out, okay, to get a ride. Now, how do you get a ride? I think there's a couple of rules. Number one, be a clean hiker, okay? You don't want to look like you're a homeless person, okay? And trust me, I met some guys in Virginia that I don't think they'd washed their clothes since they started at Springer Mountain. They were awful. Okay, you're gonna have a hard time getting picked up, okay? Single guys, probably your best chance of getting picked up is to find, a female hiker that needs a ride to town too. You look like a couple. People will pick up couples all day long. Okay, you don't have to tell them that you just met the person. Okay, but if you're in a hiking community, you probably have run across each other. If not that day, sometimes days prior. You just it's a mutual thing where both of you need to ride into town and you hitchhike together. Be happy, smile. Okay, be having fun out there while you're hitchhiking. Nobody wants to pick up somebody that's all moody and and looking like they're all dejected and homeless. Okay, this was a neat observation. So we just come out of the hostel there, Uncle Johnny's, and I think the first campsite we were at that night at one of the shelters, there was a couple from Tanzania, okay, down south of Australia. And he was trying to throw his bear line, and he had tied it around a rock and had thrown it up. It hit the tree and came right back and beamed him right in the head. And that next day, he was still kind of a little disoriented over the whole thing, and thought maybe they needed to get in and get some stitches in it. And we had gone down to this gap, and there was a guy doing some trail magic there, and they had never hitchhiked before, and she had gone out, and she was just kind of standing there, with her thumb out, and cars coming by. The trail angel called her over and said, "Hey, smile, act happy." So she went back out there and was just, doing her thumb. First car came by, stopped, picked her up. They took him down to the clinic. Okay, so be happy and be smiling. Okay, look friendly. Also, don't try and hitchhike in a group of more than 2 people. All right, so if you're in a group of 4 people, 2 of you stay back in the woods, 2 people go out and hitchhike, and then the next 2 come out. Okay, because normally people are not going to feel comfortable picking up 4, 5, 6 people. Most cars you can't accommodate that many people anyway. Then now you're waiting on a truck where you're going to throw yourself on the bed of the truck, or what happens if it's raining. So stick to just hitchhiking in 2s, and you have a better chance. Girls, you are putting yourself more at risk, especially if you're hitchhiking by yourself. Not a good idea. Not a good idea. 2 girls together is probably better. I have heard of girls hitchhiking together where they have, they get their ride and they're having fun, and they'll do a selfie with their driver. Say, "Hey, this is the second time we've hitchhiked, and we want, this is really cool," and so they'll do a selfie. And then they'll send that to a friend right away, and that person sees them doing that. "Oh, I'm gonna put it on Instagram. This is so cool." They're not going to mess with you. If they had nefarious plans, they're not going to do it now. Okay, so there's some of those things you can do. If I am open to comments and suggestions in the comments below. Share your hitchhiking experiences. Share your personal protection experiences. If you think this is way off base, let me know. Let's inform the community. And anyway, have a good hiking experience, and I hope some of this has helped. So, all right, everybody, have a good day. And if you're hiking, hike on. All right, see you later. Bye.